She is engaged to a dude, but there's one thing that's really bothering her. She has no idea how much he makes, and she's wondering if that's a reason to ditch him or not. So if you got one of these situations where there's something going on in your life and you're like, Bert Show, does this sound weird to you? Is it shady or not? Hit us up at thebertshow.com. We'll try to get you guys some advice.
And I'm just making sure I heard that right. You said they're engaged?
She's engaged to a guy.
And has no idea how much money he makes?
Yeah, that's really bothering a lot.
Dear Bert Show, I have a question for you. I thought about asking my friends, but I'm nervous about them judging my relationship with the guy I'm about to marry. I'm not sure if it's more of a, is this totally normal or is this shady? So, he and I have been together for almost 2 years now. We got engaged over Christmas and are getting married in September. He knows every single thing about me. I know everything about him, except one big thing. I have zero idea how much he makes for a living. I know he has a few different streams of income. He works in insurance sales, and he also has some investment properties. He doesn't live extravagantly. In fact, he seems very frugal. We live in a pretty normal townhouse, and we split all the expenses. However, I assume he makes quite a bit more than I do. The more I thought about it, the stranger it seemed that I have no idea what my fiancé makes. So, I decided to ask him. He refused to tell me. He said there was no reason for me to know. I told him that I think I should know if I was marrying him. If we are building a life together, I should have some idea of what our finances look like. He disagrees. He said that as long as we are both working and we don't have children together, that there is no reason for me to know what he earns, since we will both be contributing equally to our expenses. This was also the first time that I realized we'd be keeping our finances separate. I know that isn't that abnormal, but is it weird to not even have a clue about what your partner's financial situation is? Thanks for the opinions.
If you guys have a couple of seconds, I'd love to hear your opinion about this. 1-855-BERT-SHOW. You guys have any thoughts initially?
Yeah. This is weird.
Is it?
100% weird.
All right.
This is a person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, right?
Yep.
And the fact that he won't disclose how much he makes for their own budgeting, like their household budgeting purposes, that's shady to me.
Yeah.
It's super shady.
And what does it say? Shady in what way? That he's
hiding
withholding
something.
money from her?
Not that he's withholding money, but you're hiding something, and something that I don't feel is worth hiding. Like if Bart and I are getting married and he has I wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would 100% he probably knows better what I make than I do, actually, because he does the taxes. But I don't understand the reasoning behind not disclosing.
How about you guys?
I have no idea how much money my husband makes to this day.
And
before we got married, I never asked. I thought that was a rude question. And I know you're getting married, so that should be fair game. But we just never talked about that. Like,
right.
He was paying a mortgage and I was paying insane amounts of rent. So I was the dummy, and that I was like, well, he must be smart. He got a mortgage. That's a word adults use, and I am not.
But if you asked him, would he tell you?
Like now, yeah. But at the time, I think it would have been really sketch to be asking.
Yeah.
Like, that's just me, though. I mean, I know people hide debt all the time, and you should want to know about that before you join forces, because that debt becomes yours when you're married.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to look out for that. But I never thought to say, how much do you make a year? Because I just thought that was a very uncouth question for adults to ask. And it's made me uncomfortable when people just haphazardly ask that at a bar. I think it's supposed to be rude behavior. So
It is rude from a stranger.
Yeah, no, I never asked him, because I was like, you're a traveling musician. You don't make much. It's rude of me to ask. It might emasculate you in some way, because it's got to be this much or over this much. I never asked because it made me uncomfortable.
I can't wait to hear these answers. I'm engaged. Tiffany has no idea how much I make. No
But
idea.
if she asked, would you tell her?
Sure.
There you go. That's the thing. It's the not disclosing. Like, if you don't feel comfortable asking, totally respect that. If you don't know and you don't care, totally respect that. But if your fiance comes to you and she's like, "Hey, we're going to be combining, if we're going to be living together, if we're going to be married, if we're going to be combined legally and spiritually, how much do you make?" And then they refuse to tell you, that's a red flag.
I think she's about to find out because when you do a prenup, you have to establish everything
Yeah.
that you're worth and what you make, and your attorneys go ahead and present that to her attorney, so she has to put her stuff together too. But I guess that's going to be the very first time that she sees what I have and what I make. But
She's going to be pleasantly surprised.
I don't think she's going to be surprised.
No.
But I don't think she knows what the number is.
Yeah.
Christine, good morning. You're on the Bert Show. Hi.
Yes, hi, guys. I'm a P1 from day one. Love you.
All right. Good morning.
He is not a fiance. I don't even know why she's calling him a fiance, because they're not even on the same page. Like, you would disclose that type of information if you ask.
If you
my
asked.
husband knows how much I make. Yeah.
Now, but it wouldn't come up in cat. Did you ask him what he made, or did he volunteer that eventually?
He volunteered.
He volunteered.
I mean, right. And I volunteer how much I make to my husband.
Yeah, and as you're planning your
So-
future together,
Thanks.
they live in a townhouse, but maybe one day she wants a house, she wants a dog. They're thinking kids. You're thinking, your college fund for your kids. You're just thinking, you're like, this is the person you're going to be spending your future with. So it's like, what are we working with here? I don't think it's wrong to want to know that.
I'll tell you why I don't feel like it's strange in my relationship, because if I have to be 100%, I don't know how much I make.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
I really do not know how much I make every 2 weeks.
But when it comes down to the important big investments, you're buying a house, like she mentioned, he says if we're not having a kid, then there's no reason to share that. I kind of agree. I'm like, why do you need to discuss that unless you're buying a house together, buying a kid, doing like all the things that involve money and responsibility? Then you should know that. But I'm like, it's not necessary right now.
I'm going to take one more call here. Hey, Steve, good morning. You're part of the Bert Show. Hi.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Great, man. Is this Shady or not? She has no idea how much he makes, and he didn't want to tell her.
No, it is not Shady. I've been married for 12 years. I have 3 kids with my beautiful wife. She has no idea what I make. When we were engaged, I promised her that I will always provide, and I've lived up to that part of the bargain, and she's lived up to everything she promised me.
But if she asked you, would you withhold that information from her?
No, at this point I would tell her, but she doesn't care.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably the sticking point more than anything else,
totally.
right? Like
It's
once
the,
they ask.
it's the refusal to disclose.
Yeah.
The Bert Show.